Being a 911 dispatcher is not just a job, it's a calling. Every day, I knew I was helping people through their most difficult moments, whether they were in danger or needed medical assistance. I've always felt a sense of pride in being a 911 agent, knowing that my role could make a difference in someone's life. But there was one night when that sense of duty became something far more personal, a night that I'll never forget, a call that changed me forever. It was during one of my night shifts, the hours when the calls tend to be more serious and, often, more heartbreaking. As a dispatcher, you develop a kind of emotional armor, a way to distance yourself from the chaos and pain on the other end of the line. But that night, my armor was tested in a way I never expected. The night had been relatively calm, with the usual mix of calls about car accidents, domestic disturbances, and the occasional oddball situation. Like the time someone got their head stuck between the bars of a burglar gate. I was used to the rhythm of these shifts, brief moments of calm punctuated by bursts of urgency. But as the clock ticked closer to 9 p.m., I answered a call that was anything but typical. 911, what's your emergency? I said, in the calm, measured tone we're trained to use. On the other end of the line, there was silence for a moment. I could hear faint breathing, the sound of small, quick inhales and exhales. Then a tiny voice spoke up.
Hello, sir. I need you to help me find my dad.
The voice belonged to a child, and it immediately caught my attention. It wasn't uncommon for kids to call 911, sometimes out of curiosity, other times because they were genuinely scared or in need of help. I leaned forward in my chair, my instincts kicking in. When did you last see your dad? I asked gently, trying to gauge the situation.
It was a lot of days ago.
The child replied, his voice filled with the kind of innocence only a young child could have. My heart squeezed a little. Something about the way he said it made me uneasy. Okay, how old are you, son? I asked, hoping to gather more information.
I'm 5, and my dad is tall with no hair on his head. His hair started falling off and he coughs a lot. He promised to show me how to play baseball. He used to teach other children at a school. Can you please help me find him?
His words hit me like a punch to the gut. A 5-year-old alone and looking for his father? There was something terribly wrong here. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. I didn't want to alarm him, but I needed to find out what was going on. Son, where did your dad say he was going when you last saw him? I asked, praying that the answer would be something simple, something solvable.
He said he was going to the hospital,
the child said quietly.
He dropped his blue cap. It's his cap, and that covers his bald head, and I need to give it back to him.
It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. A wave of realization washed over me, cold and heavy. This wasn't just any call. This was a child whose father was gone, and not just gone to the hospital. I knew at that moment what had likely happened, but I wasn't ready to face it yet. I had to keep talking, keep him on the line, but the words felt like they were getting stuck in my throat. Are you alone at your house? I asked, my voice barely steady.
No, my mom is asleep,
the child said.
She told me dad has gone to a far place. She cries almost every night, so if I can find him, I could surprise her and make mom happy again.
The silence that followed felt unbearable. I had taken countless calls in my career, but this one was different. This was a little boy, too young to understand that his father wasn't coming back to play baseball with him, hug him, or even show him how the world works when he grows up. I felt a lump form in my throat, tears pricking at the corners of my eyes. How was I supposed to tell this innocent child that I couldn't help him, that his dad wasn't lost but gone forever? My training had never prepared me for this moment. My job was to solve problems, to provide help, but there was nothing I could do for him that would make things right. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to focus. Son, I'm going to need you to stay on the line with me, okay? I'm going to send someone to your house to help you.
Okay,
he said, his voice so small, so trusting.
But will they help me find my dad?
My heart broke a little more with each word he spoke. I knew I needed to get someone to that house immediately, but I also knew that nothing anyone could do would bring his father back. I felt helpless in a way I never had before. I quickly dispatched an officer to the address, relaying the situation as calmly as I could. But inside, I was a mess. My mind kept replaying the child's words, the innocence in his voice, the way he was clinging to the hope that someone could help him. I knew the officers would handle it from here, that they would take care of the little boy, but I couldn't shake the feeling of profound sadness that had settled over me. As I waited for confirmation that the officers had arrived, I tried to keep the boy talking, asking him about his toys, his favorite games, anything to distract him from the painful truth he would soon have to face. But every answer he gave only made the situation more heartbreaking. He told me about the stories his dad used to read to him, about the way he would tuck him in at night and kiss his forehead. He spoke about him in the present tense, as if he was still there, just out of reach. Finally, the officers arrived, and I had to end the call. I reassured the boy that help was there, and that everything would be okay, even though I knew that wasn't true. I hung up the phone and just sat there for a moment, staring at the screen, feeling the weight of what had just happened. I've dealt with my share of difficult calls, but this one was different. This one left a mark on my heart that I knew would never fade. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and like the video to help this little boy get through this hard time.